Good day, everyone. This is Rita Joy, and welcome to the Unbox Your Gift podcast. How to switch the passion into a profession and do so with the insights, advice, and the know-hows that we discuss in this podcast. And today I want to talk about Marissa Peer. And Marissa Peer, if you haven't heard of her, go and Google her, go and YouTube her. She's a lady she's a very famous therapist who talks about the power of I am enough. She has this movement called I am enough. And she says that after years of treating people in their therapy, and people have drug addictions, alcoholism, people don't feel like they're worthy, people have eating disorders, a whole array, a spectrum of different disorders that people have. And she says it all comes down to the feeling of that I'm not enough. She says everything that I've ever treated has always come down to that common denominator of I'm not enough. So she's created this movement that speaks to I am enough. In fact, she tells people on your mirror in your bathroom, write with a lipstick, with an eyeliner, with anything. Put a sticky note, write I am enough. Put it in front of your desk, I am enough. Just write it because it reminds you that you don't need to put yourself down. You don't need to medicate. You don't need to go into anything that's going to be destructive to your behavior, because the reason why you're going to get for that extra bowl of chips when you know you've had enough, or the extra sweets, or the bottle, or the drug, or going into a relationship that's not right for you is because you're trying to comfort something that needs attention. And the attention that what it needs is your attention on yourself. And that attention is simply, I am enough. I am good enough. I am young enough. I'm smart enough. I am clever enough. And what's beautiful, the way she words it, is that the words that follow I am follow you. So if you believe and you say to yourself in the quietudes of your mind, when we do something, and then the way we speak to ourselves. So I'm not, that was so stupid. It's not like that's stupid. Like that was so, can you see the intensity and the emotion that I'm saying that with? Oh, that was so stupid. How could I be so dumb? Like, oh my God, I hope no one noticed. You know what I mean? Like those kind of words that we say to ourselves in the recesses of our mind, in the quietude of our mind, has such a greater impact, Marissa Peer says, than when someone else says it to us. Because in the episode yesterday we were talking about is anything is true. We will find evidence for anything we want to believe in. We will find evidence for anything that you and I want to believe in. And so she says, well, why don't you just make the evidence, like trick your brain? She said that and the reason why I'm discussing this specifically, guys, is because this is all to do with passion and profession. This is all about unboxing your gift. Because I think it's fundamental to it. It's not even like an add-on. It's this fundamental foundation for anyone to unbox their gift. It's to have a feeling of, to be able to do so requires audacity. To unbox your gift, whatever that gift is, and continually derive or just be content with life. Like it requires a level of confidence, courage, audacity, belief. But how do you get to unbox your gift when there is a lack of belief, courage, confidence in one's own self? And Marissa Peer says the way to overcome it is because the treasure in it is in its simplicity. The way it works is because it's so simple. And I know that a lot of people might think, well, is that going to grant me becoming arrogant or having an ego? And in my personal opinion, I think that's where we need to watch ourselves and to make sure that it doesn't go into ego or arrogance, but it just goes into self-assurance, to provide excellence in the work that we do, to provide excellence in the character we're trying to carve within ourselves. As long as we aim for being in the pursuit of striving for that excellence and not for the sake of mowing down someone, or being hurtful or being arrogant or thinking you're better than someone, that becomes arrogance. But in the striving of serving of a cause, of your goals, of your gifts, of serving your own humanity, I think it does do a great deal of benefit. In fact, she gave an example, and because most of her clients are billionaires, most of her clients are celebrities who you and I might think we see them on the screen, and we might think, oh, that, they've got it made. But really, she says, they're the ones that are on the antidepressants. They're the ones who are not happy, because they've said to themselves, maybe if I get rich, maybe if I get famous, then I'll be loved and then I'll be happy. So what happens is they do get rich, they do get famous, and they go to this area of rich and famous, but they're not happy. And they're like, well, and when fans give them love, and Marissa's words, they feel like, well, they're only loving me because of this role I play. They're only loving me because of that particular music thing. They're only loving me because of what I said there. They don't actually love me. They don't care for me. So that void that they were trying to fill is still empty. Like there's still an emptiness inside them. And so what she says is that, which is really interesting when she said that, because I recall when I was a teenager, I had like lots and lots of pimples. Like I had acne galore. Like it was like a party going on in my face, and there were no invitations for it. It just happened, right? So there was like this pimples that I had, and I remember drinking all the water, to drink lots of water and make sure that you get exercise, and you make sure you do all these ABC that you're supposed to. But I was a teenager, and that's very normal. But I recall, because I was so embarrassed, and when I think back, it wasn't that bad, but to me, I was so embarrassed that when I would walk to school or walk back to school or go anywhere, I would have my face down, because I just felt self-conscious that people are looking at me and probably going, oh my God, look at her. I would just get extremely self-conscious. And it wasn't until my pimples started to fade away, because suddenly my hormones were stabilizing, and therefore, your pimples kind of go away, that habit of looking down was still with me, even when I went to university. Like I realized that, oh my goodness, my face is okay now, but my habit of looking down is still there. And that was because exactly what Marissa was saying, that maybe when I don't have pimples, I'll be better. Then I can look up. But it didn't happen that way. And these people that she talks about, maybe if I become rich and famous, then I'll be happy. But it doesn't happen. And so the reason why it doesn't happen is because the foundation is lacking. And that foundation is that you have to feel that you're enough, even when it's not there, even when it's not happening. Because at that point of feeling enough, that's when you open yourself up. And by opening yourself up, opportunities come. You allow for them to come. And this is not woo-woo. This is everyday normality. And by saying I am enough, you allow for things to open up for you. You allow yourself to breathe. Like if I think back to when I was a teenager, if I said to myself, I am enough, I probably would say, yeah, I'm just saying this because I think this is the right thing to say, but I don't believe it. Like as a teenager, I would have gone, yeah, like I'm supposed to say it, but I don't believe it. But what's interesting is what Marissa Peer says is that the more you say it, the more you're going to believe it. Because your brain will follow whatever you say. If you say to yourself, I'm cold, I'm cold, I'm cold, I'm cold, you're going to actually feel cold. If you say to yourself, oh my God, I look bad, I look bad, I look bad, I look bad, you're going to feel bad, look bad, and you're going to project that. And what's interesting for me is that she did an exercise. So she's in a conference, and she said, just to prove that your thoughts have a huge impact, she said, I want you to hold out your both your left and right arm. And by the way, go ahead and do this. Hold out your left and right arm. And I want you to close your eyes when you're doing this. So close your eyes. And your left arm, I want you to pretend, this is all Marissa Peer's exercise. I want you to pretend with your left hand that you're holding a weight. The weight is like 20 kilograms, and it's pulling your arm down. It's pulling your wrist down. You can feel the weight of it. It's so heavy. It's like bricks. It's like concrete. It's just pulling you down. The left hand is just kind of coming down. It feels like it's so heavy, and you just don't know how much longer you can carry the weight of this. And then you look at your right hand, and on your right hand, you've got like a helium balloon that's the size of your body, and it's just so light. It's so airy and it's like lifting you. And no matter how much you want to pull this balloon, helium balloon down, it won't. It's just lifting your right arm up as though it's just floating in the air. And it's just pulling you further and up and up and up. And meanwhile, your left hand is just pulling down and further down. You can feel the weight of that. It's just so heavy. It's just getting further and deeper and darker into your hands, going further down. But then your right hand is just lifting. You just don't know what's happening. You can't pull it down. And now open your eyes. And what you would have seen is that there is a difference now simply by telling your brain that your left hand is heavy and your right hand is floating because it's this helium balloon. Those words create that distance in your hands, and now you can physically see that one hand is up and one hand is down. And that's just an example of what that means when we talk to ourselves. So the words that follow I am follow you. The words that come after I am will be after you. Isn't that beautiful? Like that's how she terms it. The words that come after I am will be after you. So take a look at it. Even though you don't believe something, even though you don't believe, like, think of that goal. Think of the passion that you have. Just whatever it is, or if not the passion, think of the goal that you have. And ask yourself, say it's to become an Olympic swimmer, say it's to become a great mum, say it's to become a great, I don't know, a great carpenter, whatever it might be. Say it's to just get up and do a talk in front of an audience that you're petrified about. Think of that goal and ask yourself, what do I need to believe to make that a success? What do I need to believe about myself to make that a success? So what do you need to believe? So if we take the example of giving a talk to an audience that you're petrified, what do you need to believe for that talk to be a success? For every person, that belief is going to be different. But as an example, I'd say you'd need to be confident. You need to know you're going to make a difference. You need to know that you're going to add value. You need to know that you're self-assured. That you need to know that you're down to earth, that you're grounded. This is what I would say. So I would start saying to myself, I'm grounded. I'm confident. I'm self-assured. I'm going to add value. This work matters. This message matters. My audience matters. Can you see that? As long as I keep saying what I need to feel and believe, my brain's just going to follow, just like my brain followed my arm being heavy in one and light in the other. It's just going to do it automatically. In fact, Marissa Peers, you should go check her out. She's got a lot of things, but I wanted to mention it specifically on this podcast because, of all the things that come across and that I've coached people over time, and I've looked at, what stops someone and what stops myself, what stops any other human being, it really is that foundational piece of, am I enough? Am I fundamentally flawed in some way? That's what most of us think. I must be fundamentally flawed because I don't deserve that person to be in my life. I don't deserve that car. I don't deserve that wage increase. I don't deserve that speaking opportunity. I don't deserve meeting that person. I can't believe it's happening. Why is it happening? I can't believe it. Those things, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. If you can't believe it, and you keep saying that, and it's soon going to kind of go into a level of self-sabotage. And so you and I, we have to be vigilant in the words that we use to speak to ourselves. We can't help what happened in our past if we were bullied, or if someone said to us or spoke to us or treated us in some way that was detrimental. That can't be helped. But what's great news is what we say to ourselves has greater importance than anyone else's words on us. Because we're with us 24/7. We're in our minds 24/7. And for that reason, we have the gift of being able to pick the words. And so one thing that really changed my thinking is, say you have to do an all-nighter. Say you have to do an all-nighter to write a book, to write some notes, or whatever it might be. And instead of thinking, I've got to stay up all night and write this book, oh goodness, I hope I can keep my eyes open, I need some coffee. That emotion of, it's going to put it, and your brain is going to try to protect you. So it's going to maybe make you fall asleep, or it's going to make you feel tired because you're not looking forward to it. But if you say, I choose in Marissa's words, I choose to stay up all night. I choose to have this opportunity to write something amazing. I choose to give this my all. I choose to make this so impactful that people are not going to be wanting to put this book down. I choose to just put my best work in right now. And by saying stuff like that, the brain is now going to work, if you're going to stay up, let me support you and let me give you all the energy you need. Let me give you what you need to make sure that you're able to be up and running all morning. Like that is pretty incredible. That's pretty incredible. In fact, what's really interesting is Marissa says, if you ever go to a psychiatrist or if you ever go to a psychologist and they say, so tell me what's going on and how does that make you feel? And how does that make it? She goes, if you're going on and on and on, of that therapist, that's code for I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm just going to ask you, as a psychologist, I'm going to ask you, the patient, what's going on and how do you feel? And who cares? At the fundamental level, the person, what they feel is that they're not enough. Just go to the source. So she's actually getting angry at these therapists who just make their patients go on and on and on. Talking about the problem on and on and on doesn't solve it. That's why people, she says, are in therapy for years because the person doesn't know how to get to the soul of the problem. And the soul of the problem is I'm not enough. In fact, I'm just going to end with this, but she was talking about one of her clients, Marissa Peers, was a very famous actress. She didn't say who. But she was called into the set. And the reason why she was called in is because that this actress, she would live on eating cotton wool and taking and eating toilet paper. Like she would be eating stuff like because she did not want to get fat. She didn't want to put on weight. That's really bad, right? So she said that anytime anyone should be and doing that in her trailer, like in her studio trailer, should be doing all of that. But then the director asked her to come and rehearse with some of the scenes on set. And as she's rehearsing on set, the trucks of food were coming in and she could smell the aroma of food. And she said that she ran into the bathrooms. She locked herself in there and started stuffing toilet paper down her mouth, toilet paper, just eating it. And what had happened was she started choking. It got so bad that security had to come and knock the door down of the bathroom door, get her out of there and start pulling toilet paper out of her mouth. Like, that's serious stuff. And so that kind of conflicted with the insurance that they had at the studio. So Marissa Peers gets called in to come and help this lady. And this lady says to her, look, I don't care what. I'm not putting on weight. I am not getting fat. I'm not going to go out there. So basically, don't tell me not to eat toilet paper or don't tell me what to do because it's not happening. And what's interesting about that story is when she's saying that is there is a fundamental flaw that we all simply seem to have. I mean, that's the extent. The reason why I said that example is that's the extent of the type of clients and the thought process that people have. And it all comes down to the fact that I'm not enough. Like, how would the situation have to be so bad for any human being to need to eat toilet paper to keep a certain image? Or what is it that we're paying attention to? I mean, magazines, what you listen to. And so when I look at myself and what I spend my time in, I'm very conscious of not opening a magazine. I'm very that doesn't serve me, that doesn't help me, if it hinders me. Like all those fashion magazines, I stay away from them. I stay away from all those magazines that portray a human being in a way that's airbrushed but not real. Because all that's doing to my brain, even though I might say, oh, that's just, I'm just buying time. Subconsciously, I don't even want that to have like a tiny seed in my brain, like in the back of my brain, because I know once a seed is planted, then it's going to get watered, it's going to get fertilized, it's going to grow, right? So it's very important that we stay vigilant. When we're turning a passion into a profession, that we are vigilant in what we say and how we say to ourselves. And there will be a time when you're talking to yourself, saying, I'm enough, yeah, bull, I don't believe that, I'm enough, I'm supposed to say this, yeah, I'm enough. If you keep saying it, that will become the usual voice that's in your head. Because once upon a time, Nobody said that you were dumb. Nobody, or maybe someone did say that. Maybe someone said you're not good enough. But that's because you allowed that voice to go in and now you're just putting it on repeat. You're putting it on repeat. Maybe someone said that to you when you were young, when they didn't have the right to say that, but they did. And because those words went into your brain, now that it's on repeat. And however you execute, whatever job you do, wherever you go, that kind of is in the back of your mind. And so to override that tape that is pulling you down, to override it, you need to now erase it by saying a new tape. And even though you may not believe it in the beginning, what you need to remember is repetition creates results. The more you say it, it's going to override the old message, the old words you said to yourself. And soon that's going to become habit. Because that's how habit works. You just do it over and over and over and over. And suddenly now the brain is going to respond to it. Because I know what it feels like to say a few things and go, yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that about me. I'm not saying that. I don't believe I'm good. I don't believe I'm smart. I don't believe I'm clever. I don't believe that. I don't believe any of that. And that's fine. But if you keep repeating it and just saying it, your brain is going to, just like before, if you did the exercise with me, you had nothing in your hand, but I said one arm is just sinking down. It's got too much weight and the other arm doesn't. By just telling your brain what to think, the brain responds. And that's what a gift that is. I find that such an exciting gift to have and to know how to operate this thing called my brain, that if I just tell it what I want, if I'm going to do a talk and I'm scared out of my mind, if I just tell it, I'm smart, I'm confident, I have a message that's going to matter, I have a message that's going to serve my audience, I'm going to be able to speak clearly, I'm going to be an authority in this. Just by saying those things, I am just allowing myself to ease my brain and ease the ability for me to do that. Because if I just tell my brain what to do, it will do it. If I tell my brain, oh my God, I'm nervous, I can't do this, I'm nervous, guess what my brain's going to do? You can't do this, you're nervous, it's just going to respond. So I just thought that was just huge. I am enough. I am enough. I am strong enough. I am smart enough. I'm clever enough. And it's not for arrogance, just to repeat, it's not to boost ego or to boost any arrogance. It's just to serve an inner assurance, because if you and I went to a teacher and you're taking your child to a teacher, do you want the teacher to say, oh, I'm okay as a teacher? Like, I'm probably third best or fifth best. Yeah, like I can teach your kid. I'm going to make sure your kid understands his ABCs or algebra or whatever it might be. I'm going to give my all to your. I'm a teacher that cares. I'm one of the best ones that these kids are going to have. When you go to a doctor, do we want the doctor to say, I'm okay as a doctor? I mean, I can diagnose you, but I'm not sure if I'm right. You're like, hello, like that would just like make you go insane. Like, what do you mean? You want the confidence, you want the assurance from someone. If you go to a lawyer, if you go to a physio, if you go to an electrician, if you go to anybody, you want them to have the confidence to say, yeah, I can get the job done. And not kind of be meek and go, I'm not sure if I can get it. Like, that's just not going to give anything to anybody, right? And so if we can just project that on ourselves and claim what we're good at, not from an arrogant point of view, but from an excellence point of view, from a point of service, serving our own souls and serving a greater good, that's when we can really dominate I am enough. I am enough. And if we can say that, if we can plaster it in every place, in fact, I'm thinking of even putting it on my mobile phone as a screensaver. If we can just plaster that everywhere to remind ourselves, because repetition allows that thing, that those words are just me words. For those of you who are listening to it for the first time, allows me words to become a belief, and belief becomes a habit, and the habit becomes a character, the character of I am enough. And so if you're wanting to find someone in your life, a business partner, a partner to be married to, anyone, you're going to find someone that actually measures up to what is going to help you. It's going to allow you to build together in a relationship versus just going for anyone that, as long as they fill this void for the moment, right? It allows us to build a character that's strong, that's secure, that's sensitive to what we need versus I'll just do whatever is necessary just to get by. You know what I mean? Like, we have a different standard then for ourselves. And when we can put a different standard, then other people respond to that standard, and those people at that standard come and want to meet us at that. But when we're at a different standard than what we know we should be, then we're going to attract like-minded people who are just going to not be from the same energy, not be in alignment with what we're doing, and cause ourselves to feel worthless and not enough. Not enough. So I thought that is just huge, guys. That's a huge breakthrough. That if you're in a position where you're at crossroads, where you are struggling with something, or maybe that's something that's kind of being recycled in your head over and over again, you can't get over a situation or a mishap with someone, or you're trying so hard to convert this passion into a profession, then start with, I am enough. I'm enough. By God, I am enough. By the grace of God, I'm enough. By the permission of God, I'm enough. Whatever it takes to allow those words of I am enough, because you were enough as a child, you were enough as a baby, and what changes, you went to school and you got compared to Sally, who could write better than you, or Derek, who could do better geography than you, or Mary, who could do better math than you, and then you got a lower score, they got a higher reading grade, whatever it was, and comparison-itis started, and then you felt, I'm not enough. It started from there. But if we can just now override that tape and say, I am enough, and allow those words to become the belief and the habit and the character, it will override all those other things that make you feel insecure, insignificant, or unworthy at any level. So I wanted to share that with you guys. I hope that's been of benefit to you. I know that I Am Enough has been a really great change. I was speaking to a friend and she was telling me how that has given her such a great boost of confidence and elation that that really was amazing. In fact, let me just before I leave, I have to share this story. You want to stay for this story because this is amazing. So my friend and I were talking about Marissa Peer, I should say, P-E-E-R. And Marissa P, somehow she got this, my friend was listening to her, and Marissa Peer had this trouble with her wrist. Something happened to her wrist and it started to hurt. And so she went to I think it was a physio or some professional to get help for her wrist. And the guy said, look, I'm going to have to do these exercises on your wrist, but they're going to hurt like crazy. So be prepared. I mean, we can do surgery or we can do these exercises, but the exercises are going to hurt like crazy. But if we do the surgery, you won't be able to do yoga again. And yoga is something that Marissa Peer loves. Like, she cannot breathe without yoga. She loves yoga. And so the doctor said to her, if you do the surgery, there's no guarantee you can do yoga. But if we do the exercises, but they will hurt like mad, you will be able to still do yoga. And she goes, okay, well, I can't live without yoga, so the exercise will have to be. So she said, and the doctor said, look, just be prepared. It's going to hurt when you come in for your next session. So what Marissa decided to do is, instead of thinking, oh my God, it's going to hurt, it's going to hurt, it's going to hurt, because the doctor has told me it's going to hurt, she kept saying to herself, I want it, I want it, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that exercise, I want to go through that, I want to be able to do yoga, I want that. She just kept saying, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it. So it comes to the day of the actual day she's booked in to see the doctor. And the doctor says that she does the exercise on her and there's a bend in her elbow and it's just probably screaming out in pain. And the doctor says to her, of all the people that he has treated, you know, normally when you feel pain, you kind of pull back, you push back, you know, you jump up, or at least you go back a bit. But he said, I have never met anyone who, when I've pushed on that pain point, they've come forward. And that's what Marissa did. So when the pain happened, she didn't push back, she came forward. And it was a psychological thing because her brain had told her, I want it, I want it, I want it. And so my friend had listened to that story. And she was telling me that for her job, she had to go and do a presentation in front of a university. And she said, I did not want to go in front of, you know, the big wigs of this university and do a presentation. She said, I tried to palm it off to someone else. I tried to give it to someone else and nobody would have it. But it was my job. I had to do this presentation. And she said, I'm so scared of speaking in public that she said, years ago when she got up and spoke, she nearly fainted. She said, literally, I saw black She goes, my voice shaked. She said that I was quivering. She said, I could see the panic in my audience faces, feeling sorry for me as I'm shaking, as my voice is quivering, as I'm just like sweating, and as I'm just seeing black, like it's coming black out. Like she goes, I nearly fainted. And she goes, I couldn't finish my talk. I had to sit down and I had to calm myself down. And she goes, now fast forward some time later, and she's at a university, working at a university, and now she has to present. And she's like, oh my goodness, I can't go through that same feeling as I went then. So she had heard Marissa P's story of her wrist and how she kept saying, I want it, I want it, I want it. And so she said to me, I just started saying to myself, I want it. I want to do the presentation. I'm going to cream it. I'm going to make it the best. I want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. And she just kept repeating it over. I want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. Even though like it was trying to make her vomit, like every time she said, because her brain didn't believe it at first, but she kept at it. I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it. And so it's just words. It becomes a belief. I want it, I want it, I want it. And that becomes a habit because she's just saying it every day. I want it, I want it, I want it. She goes, the day of the presentation, she said, I was running to the presentation room. Like I wasn't walking, I was running because I wanted to be the first speaker. I wanted everyone to get off the stage and I wanted to be the one that speaks. She goes, I was sitting there and I just couldn't wait for everyone to finish talking so I could have my turn. She goes, finally, they got off the stage and it was my turn to speak and I owned the stage. This is coming from someone who was going to faint. Who the last time she spoke nearly fainted. She goes, I'm on the stage and I'm owning the stage and I'm like, I got this. And she just went and she went through it. And then she said to me afterwards that her boss came up to her and said that the faculty had said, what great staff he has because they do such a great job. And she goes, I knew that was me. That was me having put it into my head that I could do it. I could do it. And from coming from someone from that extreme, nearly fainting to just like owning the stage, simply by telling her brain that she would. That is huge. That's huge. And so I'm inviting you to do the same thing. If there's something that you feel like that makes you nauseous, something that makes you feel like I just can't do that. Whatever that might be, if it's personal, if it's professional, regardless, if you just tell yourself, I'm going to do it, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it, I want 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 it. And if you keep going, just like my friend did, just like Marissa did, it turns from just mere words to a belief, to a habit until it becomes your character. And now my friend, she's like, I just want to go and speak everywhere. I just want to go. Like literally I had coffee with her the other day and she's like, I just want to go speak everywhere. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what has gotten into you? It's just the change. I'm losing my words. The change was remarkable. And all because she told her brain what to do and didn't allow her brain to tell her what to feel, right? Whatever follows the words I am will follow you. So I hope that's been of benefit, guys. I know it's been a real eye-opener for me going through this I am enough and knowing that it can really have radical change. It can radically change the way you work. And if you implement that, think of how much of a difference it makes to you and those watching you, like your kids or your nieces or your nephews or whoever you have influence over, whoever looks up to you, whoever watches you. They're going to be affected by how you come across, and it's all going to come from this place of, do you feel enough? And if you don't, you just start saying it to yourself. From mere words, it will turn into a belief. So wherever you are in the world, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you've enjoyed it, please let me know. Please let me know. Please leave a comment below. I always appreciate it. Please subscribe to the series, and I'll come back with tomorrow for some better episodes. And obviously, guys, I get questions all the time. If you have a question that you would like answered, please do let me know. Rita@unboxyourgift.com, and I will come back to you. So thank you so much, guys, for listening. As always, I truly appreciate it. And to wrap it up, my advice to myself and to you is that life is a gift. Together, let's unbox it.